Thank you.
And I'm losing my touch on remembering things.
You're getting old, Dominic.
I didn't need a reminder.
Spirits? Better than you.
Last time.
Yeah, but you're not in chronic pain.
Last time on the Whims of Fate, we attended another meeting wherein we were told that nothing has happened yet. And
Yeah.
Tooth got bored, pulled out a giant jug of moonshine.
Which had all of us roiling at the smell, and he got violently drunk.
Which basically caused the meeting to end. With the first people to depart being Emrys and Tong.
Mm-hmm.
So whose board is worse? Hidea's or Tooth's?
Tongs. Let's not forget the fireball incident.
Catacombs, fireballs,
Fireball.
drunkenness.
Disruptive drunkenness.
During
So
this
hard to
during this
worse.
drunkenness, Erden,
Be better coping with.
Erden, in attempt to get Tooth a sandwich, pulled out a broadsword,
From the bag.
which ended up only making him more like Beowulf.
Mm-hmm. Because it's Beowulf's sword.
And they
He's
took
one in a bed, according to my dad.
and they took it to Emrys, who said the sword's not magical. And this week on the Whims of Fate.
If I remember correctly from last time, we established that Amor is not going on whatever mission we're going on to the.
To the city of
Correct.
Londinium, yes.
Yeah.
Orlos needs you there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there was kind of sort of discussion on sort of planning.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Before the meeting was disrupted by two.
And speaking of discussing on what things to do, unless someone wants to interrupt me, while the search for the sandwich is going on, like, while or immediately after the party leaves the tent, before it can get too far, Rada's just going to like grab her by like the back of her shirt or like the collar and say, "Yeah, not going anywhere. If the men of the group are going to not be helpful in making plans, then we have to make the plans."
Okay.
Somewhere in that area. I can't remember. And I
I guess I don't get to get out of this one.
No, you don't.
around the same time as Robert and Idea did, though, so I'm probably by you guys.
Yeah, no. Alright. Now let's go. Let's let's all of us go find Tong so that we can all discuss things. At least those of us that are capable of discussing things.
You think we can weaponize how drunk the boys are?
Don't.
I do. I do.
Don't. Just don't.
See Tooth going anywhere with a weapon in his current state.
No, just how drunk and how bad they smell from being drunk.
Oh, okay, that's a good point. Because the I don't know what that was, but it was horrid.
I don't want to see anybody wielding weapons drunk.
Should be forced to heal them?
Well, I didn't even think about that, but just I can't imagine it ends well. I understand how dangerous weapons are. don't think they should be in a drunk person's hands.
Dangerous weapons are like the
Excuse me.
understatement of the century, Dan.
Like a little
But
light.
I'll gladly help with planning, but we could probably ask Amor for his help. He's probably one of the only men that we travel with that's sensible right now.
Oh, really? You think he's not going to? He was trying to get a bit of that alcohol, whatever it was. You think he's going to remain sober?
Amor wasn't.
I'm pretty sure he used a sword to tell somebody to go put it away.
I thought you said Erden.
Oh gosh, no, Amor. Erden's Tooth's drinking buddy. I'm not. No. No. Amor.
He possibly has some ideas, but well, let's find Tong first. Perhaps she has some magic that could to make things better.
As long as it's not another
I
fireball.
like using magic to make things better.
As long as it's not another fireball.
Can we make a stone wall?
Look, she's
We
not
need a
likely. She's not likely to be bored at the moment, so I don't think we have anything to fear from this forest being lit on fire. Let alone all the druids being around.
She did that because she was bored.
Probably among other things. I don't know. She hasn't talked to me about it.
Wait, not a stone wall.
And people wonder why I'm intimidating when she can just boom fireball. So she was very nice in helping me send my letter.
Wall.
Brina, I think she's. I mean, she's probably not going to see it, but I think she likes you.
Rich?
Speaking of that, Gauche is going to land up on one of Rada's horns,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll have an envelope in his beak. I'll look amongst the three before fluttering down and landing in front of Brina.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at her, envelope still in his mouth.
It's for me, isn't it?
He'll nod.
Okay. I take the envelope from Gausha and like
when you take the letter out of his mouth, my apologies. Milady told me that it's impolite to speak with your mouth full.
She's correct, but for some reason it strikes me as funny. And, I guess I can read it to see who it's from, but did Tong send me a letter to send off with hers? Is that what I'm doing with this?
If you look on the envelope, it will say, like, to Tong's trusted travel companions. And basically,
Go ahead.
What?
I was gonna say, go ahead. It sounded like I cut you off.
If you begin reading it, it will basically be the letter that I put in the roleplay chat a long time ago.
I will probably have to look that up again because I have a vague memory of. Sorry, I just now found your post, Marco.
Oh boy, what is this?
Right. Juice. Rage-induced I felt that the other day when I saw a stupid bumper sticker that said, "This car runs on liquid dinosaur," or something stupid like that. And I was like, doesn't run on dinosaurs. Never has, never will. You and your misinformation.
I went to my county museum earlier today. Thus the quote.
Mhm.
But it made me really happy because it's like one of those like sandboxes with fossils in them for children to discover.
Mhm.
But like on the sign, it had like what was in there. It had dire wolf and Pacific mastodon, which are both relatively new. And in particular with the dire wolf, it has the new genus name.
Nice.
They have a new genus.
The Inoceon dirus is what it's called.
Interesting.
And then the Pacific mastodon was split from the American mastodon 2017, I want to say.
Hmm.
As Brina's reading the letter, Gausha will
Mhm.
croon himself, or preening.
I like the idea of Goucher just preening as he's sitting there.
Well, he may be fake, but he's still an owl.
Something got very quiet.
Yeah.
I'm reading!
Yeah.
I'm reading a letter!
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Because it's the last thing I was going to play anyway, so I didn't have to go searching for it. It's just there.
But it is long.
for a reason. This is also a good time for me to catch up on my notes.
So I thought, if I remember correctly from last time, Adea had a list of things that she was going to fix.
It Uther was just made aware that Idea can fix shoes.
That was the one thing that I do remember. But it was like the third or fourth thing on the list that she was considering doing.
Well, whenever time catches up with this section of the group, Ern's gonna accost Tadea with, "Okay, so how far have you read into your book to do more sword stuff?"
I thought you were getting drunk in the tent.
Well, yeah, getting drunk in the tent and then pulling out a sword and then realizing, wait a minute, the Bright Hearth does have something about it, but it could. We already have what we do, but it could be better.
The is not in the tent anymore. She snuck off to try and, make things, and then Rada told her no.
No, you have to pretend like you're responsible.
I mean, I have to go to bed on time.
Yes, we have an early
You
day
asking this
tomorrow.
is yourself, or is he stuck? Arthur, remind
I
me.
like working until I can't keep my eyes open.
Okay, chill out, Eric.
Reading a book. Arthur, remind me again. The bottom of the letter, it's just characters for her name, but it's Mori-chan, right? Is that
Yes.
how it would be? Mori-chan.
So, yeah, so metagame-wise, that's Mori.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm asking basically for a translation of the characters at the bottom of the letter. I'm not trying to metagame. I'm translating.
Okay. Well, my question would be, do you have either comprehend languages or tongues active?
I mean, what is the likelihood that this letter was written in something that Sabrina can actually read without those?
Well, the part that's in English would be written in Fey.
Yeah, if it's in Fey, it's fine.
But there's a reason why I wrote the signature the way it
In
was.
characters. Okay, gotcha.
Did you have a comprehend languages going for our Britonic friends that definitely don't speak Fey?
She had tongues going on.
I had tongues going on Cadmus, but I don't know if I actually did have languages going. I probably should have, because the meaning I wouldn't have understood it if I didn't. So would everyone be okay with me retroactively saying that I did?
Well, there was probably something going on because that was a lot of people talking.
Yeah. Like I would think that I would have had that going. So
Alright, so would you want tongues or comprehend languages? Because comprehend languages stipulates that you get the literal translation.
comprehend languages.
Alright, so then it would be her, well, she, possessive, beautiful flower.
Okay.
Marco, give me a high or a low.
Low.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say I'll finish reading the letter and then hold it up and I'll finish reading the letter, probably scan back over it again to try and hit important points so that I don't forget things because I'm supposed to give the letter back. And so I'll fold up the letter and hand it back to Gausho. It's like, or before I hand it to him, before he takes it in his he's like, thank you. I'm slightly surprised to receive this, but thank you. Rod, are you sure you don't have divination or something like that? Very awkward timing.
I am connected with the divine, but I not like that.
Well, you just said the tongue likes me, and here's the letter from Gausha in the letters from I don't know what it means. She beautiful flower doesn't sound like a name, but it's an interesting name. I'll take it.
Wait.
Meet her. Be interested in asking about her name. But
The letter said that you are trustworthy?
yes.
88.
That's
May
the only reason I'd
I
be if I was found trustworthy.
see the letter?
I think I've already handed it back to Gausha.
Nah, Gausha, before he would take the list. If you have any questions, ask them now. I can't guarantee that I will be permitted to answer them later. And Lady Stargazer, if well, the letter wasn't intended for you, I wasn't explicitly denied from letting you see it. Thank you. And she'll take the letter and read it.
I was like, I'm not given the opportunity to select. Rada's just taking the letter. Okay.
Then she'll give the letter back to uh, whomever, and
Yeah, or if she
I've
gives it back to me, I'm probably just gonna hold it till I try and think of any questions.
I never got this letter. I've never seen it before.
I'm now feeling even more confused because it's like Tong and Rada know each other. They've traveled together. I barely know Tong, and she like the only like relatively pleasant experience I think we've had together is her helping me send mail back home. Uh, um, I'll probably help as much as I can. Um, questions. Do I have any questions? As I like open the letter and look at it again, I was like,
Aside from just how, why, what?
yeah, I got a little bit of that. It's like I was gonna say, it's like I don't know what her feels are, but I can do music. I don't
Thanks for
remember how much it was
reconsider.
made of wood.
Why have I not seen this before? Well, your sudden disappearance has harmed your relationship.
So
You have to realize, Lady Stargazer, that you have vanished for many years from our perspective. I thought you were dead. Took some time before Milady accepted that. As for why you've never seen it before, it was never relevant. But that is the reason why I wasn't told to give it to you. At this instance. Quite frankly, I think she was going to order me to give it to Tooth. Because she also trusts him. Not
like stare at Gaucho as he says like he trusts Tooth and me, but not Rod? Oh, my life just got so much more complicated.
I feel like there'd be a joke about trusting leprechauns here, but it probably doesn't know enough.
yes, personally, I disagree with her on this stance. I don't trust him at all.
I think you'll find that mostly across the board.
Eh, if I'm to understand her line of thinking correctly, Brina, you are the most liked and trusted out of your group. Heights, and she'll look at Idea, is third.
What did he call her?
Heise, it means child.
Heise.
Adea will look briefly She'll light up briefly at being third on this list, although look quite slightly surprised, and then hear the translation. She kind of gets a credence, but she's also slightly annoyed.
And Lady Stargazer, your position is either before or after the Mongol. Well, wouldn't be Mongol, but I don't recall what the Chinese called the Mongols off the top of my head.
Bad news?
No, there was an actual name.
I think you heard.
But as far as what you said, yes.
All worthy bad news.
So I'm the most liked and trusted out of our party. Idea's third, and then Rada ranks somewhere under Henry.
Either before
I think-
or after. I think they are about equal. She likes him more. She likes Lady Stargazer more than the monk.
That would be Henry.
However, trust. Like I said, your sudden total disappearance has harmed her trust.
As I'm looking over this letter, it's like, okay,
Can I make a stealth check to sneak away from the party?
Rada's still holding onto your shirt.
Oh. Rada knows better than to let me go while she's distracted.
Yes. I suppose we can talk while we move. Gausha, do you happen to know where Tong is? Well, of course I do. We are mentally connected. Come, she is this way.
As we're following Gausha, the one question I'll ask him is like, okay, I have one question. What are her academic interests so that I know what those are? If I need them?
Rocks, magic, language.
Oh my.
It's just those three, or do we have any others?
I mean, those are what she studies.
Okay.
There is a particular individual with whom the author of that letter is. However, I don't, given what she has said of you and your size, I don't think you are particularly skilled in agriculture.
So, those of you who had been drinking last session, are you still drinking?
No.
left the tent with Uther because they went to Emrys to talk to him about the Beowulf sword. So
Yes.
they left off drinking, though they did have brandy.
Moonshine.
Right.
But
They both thought the moonshine was not worth trying.
Oh,
they
right.
they got brandy out of his bag as well. I think they got brandy from somewhere because I know I have notes where
Yes, from two.
It would have been from his
because
bag.
Airden got the brandy out, and Emrys and Uther kept the brandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, the way the roles worked out, I think Erden was left at a tail end of buzz, beginning of drunk.
I have a feeling that is accurate.
Tooth is borderline alcohol poisoning.
Comatose.
Yeah, Tooth is borderline alcohol poisoning.
Trying not to die from tonight's encounters.
Huh?
I was gonna say, after I asked Gaushu that, I'm like, okay, I will do my best to remember that, and finally hold the letter up and hand it out to him.
He'll take it when he's not flying.
Mm-hmm. Imagine him just like alighting. Honestly, I can just imagine him like kind of like setting down on my head or like on my pack or something like that, and me just like holding up the letter.
That or the ground.
Because well, if he landed on Rod's floor, he'd be too tall for me. Unless I'm riding, I can't remember if I'm riding. I thought I just walked. I think I'm just walking.
Well, we never say that you are riding Rada at any point.
Yeah, I think we're just walking. So.
Yeah, Gausho will lead the girls over to where Tong is. If there's anything that wants to be done with the other people, I think now would be a good time to do it before going to serious talk.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you, Brina's not going to feel quite up to talking to Tom because she just got a letter. Like, it's an honor. I'm also like, I have no idea what to say now. Like, I was already intimidated by Tong and didn't quite know how to talk to her, and now I'm just
All more.
like, all the more not sure how to talk to her. Like the intimidation factor, I think, has gone down a notch just because it's like, oh, okay, so she actually needs help from me. I get to help her. Okay.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Not necessarily that, but it's like, I mean, Brina has a caring heart, and so she wants to help somebody who obviously has been through a lot, and it's like, okay, I have no idea how to approach this without making it worse. So it's like I'm going to try and process this information and retain it in my brain and bring it out when needed because otherwise I don't know what to do with it. Like I don't know how to interact. It's almost like when you learn something about somebody and you're like, I'm not quite sure how to interact with you now because I have that new information kind of like forming a weird wall. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yes.
It does.
Okay, good. That's where Brena's at right now. She has a interesting wall of letters that came out of words that came out of that letter. It's like, oh.
Oh. Okay. Is there anything else people want to do? Or can we do a bit of a time skip?
Yeah.
Are we time skipping to a meeting? Because Adea would like to find her way out of having to deal with the meeting as quickly as possible.
I mean, depending on how actually Ern could probably I can have Erden arrive very conveniently if that's what you want.
Either or.
Well,
I mean, technically both of those conversations were happening at the same time, so
I mean, given where Gaushu is leading the girls, I don't think it would be too hard to find a centaur with glowing wings.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'd be rolling with disadvantage if I tried to use any form of perception check.
You got your beard on.
I mean, yeah, but it might not be exactly what you think. Because I will be using, scientifically, like, this is really what happens when you're drunk. So, you can try. If you're gonna go look for him, you can give it your best go.
Okay. That's not the end of the world. Plus, so that's 12.
12. Okay, so you do see Rada's wings, but you see Rada's wings here, and you see Rada's wings here, and you're not really sure which one is her. You got the double vision going on here.
Okay, so Ern has definitely experienced this before. So then he stops. He watches both of them. They're both going the same direction. okay, how do I solve this? I know.
Dude, throw the sleeping leprechaun at her.
I don't know. Ern does something a little smarter than that. Also, I don't think. Did he bring Tooth?
I think he was like carrying him under his arm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Like-
you're carrying him like a football.
Yeah, just like making sure his face is down so he doesn't choke himself.
Because he's still got the sandwich in his mouth. He's eating it in his sleep.
Right. I forgot he was eating the sandwich in his sleep.
He probably has so
Erden-
many in his beard at this point.
Erden then realizes, wait a minute, I can solve this. He then uses locate object and does it on the. He then uses locate object on the necklace Idea is trying to make. Okay,
Not with
which
us
one of
because
these is it?
it's dragging a damn on.
Right, because you don't have your
Use all the perception and everything going on in your brain. So the spell works, but you've got 2 spots located.
Funnily enough, they're both looking where the wings are.
They're not in the same direction as the wings because Idea didn't get to go get the necklace from the tent before Rada was like,
It's not with her.
It's like off this way, but there's still like 2 pings, and you're like,
Okay, now I gotta do a 100 roll for this. Okay, it was high. So Ern tries to start following the wings. It's like, let's get the smarter one involved in this.
I'm gonna say easily enough, Rada, he's drunk. He's not being very quiet. He's stumbling after you, but he's kind of erratically stumbling after you, like he can't quite figure out where you are.
It's like he even like has his thumb pointed directly outwards. Like, okay, so if I follow this thumb, and if I keep it at a far enough distance, I might be able to balance. Nope, that just doesn't work.
Alright, so it's like
Doesn't have 2 thumbs. It's like, no, crap.
Yeah, Rada face Paul.
You're trying to like close one eye, and it's just making it way worse. Now there's like 3 all overlapping.
Yeah.
Just making you a little nauseous.
Aaron's kind of doing that, half mumbling to himself, like, "You've done this before. You've gone home before. You can do this again. This isn't nearly as hard."
Drunk.
okay, Gausha, could you wait a moment? Rena, could you guide Erden this way?
I need something nicer to smell than that, but okay.
Me that Rada is basically dragging Idea along like a
Little child?
and the kitten.
That's exactly right.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have child leashes.
You can invent one.
Over him, but what it is that you're dragging Dale along like a cat does her.
Just like grab his pant leg, like, that's like.
Oh, there you are, Breen. I was really looking for you.
I'm on the side opposite of Tooth, just in case, and I'm also like just trying to like, oh, please don't breathe on me, please. The smell is like, I think for me, honestly, the smell is affecting me. Like, you know how secondhand smoke? Yeah, secondhand smell of alcohol. Oof.
Tooth and Brina, can you guys give me Constitution saves?
Say something, didn't I?
You're within range of Erden's aura.
So I would think Tooth would be worse. Like, Erden probably, if he's looking down and breathing, that'd probably be bad, but he didn't spill any on him, so it wouldn't be that bad. But Tooth, on the other hand.
Yeah, but it's
I think the point was that you get extra advantage because Erden is close.
Okay, so this is maybe so Saving throw or
Constitution saving.
Constitution saving?
I have a solid 14.
Is Airden a plus modifier or an advantage?
It's plus.
I have a +4 modifier.
Oh, a +4? Okay, so I have a 9 then?
Oh, then I got an 18.
Well, he's not dying, and he's finished his sandwich.
Excellent. For someone who's passed out. Good job, too.
Rena, you're definitely just like getting a buzz from being that close to Tooth, though. Like the fumes have just kind of left it onto you, and you've definitely got a buzz.
It's like, please, somebody else do this. Please, Rana.
Oh, hi, Brina. How's it going? Oh, it's don't mind
My little
Tooth.
fire
He's
physics
definitely
right?
very drunk. Like, awfully drunk. I don't know how he drank all of that. It's very concerning. Do you
just
know
say
where...
twice.
I know where Yes, I know where they are, but I can't stay here very long, otherwise I'm freaking secondhand drunkenness. I hate this.
You're getting secondhand drunk? I've never heard of this before.
The smell wafting off of Tooth is affecting me. What? I'm supposed to be helping anybody else. This is not going to be good. You know exactly what I'm talking about, please.
Actually, with Ern's experience with with his high alcoholism, would Erden know about a secondary effect of lay on hands, where if he spends 5, it could actually remove like a level of intoxication, or does it not do anything about that?
Isn't it basically a poison?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically a poison. But on a different level than like poisons, it becomes a poison when you consume too much. But right now, it's just a inhibitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can eat tomatoes and be fine, but if you eat too many tomatoes, it does become a poison. Like, it's edible, but don't eat too many. It is part of the nightshade family. Like, be smart.
So yeah, Ern looks down and is like, yeah, I'd love to help with that, but lay on hands doesn't do anything. I swear, I've tried so many times. It doesn't work.
Brina's just like kind of trying to. She's blinking like. Why?
I've used Lesser Restoration before to cure drunkenness in this campaign. Question is, do I have it prepared?
You do make it back to the other. Relatively easy enough.
Thank you, Brina. Rada, I have 2 things. One, Tooth could be very concerningly drunk at this point, and he might need your restoration spell, because he definitely needs it more than I do, because he somehow ate his sandwich while unconscious still, so I'm very concerned about him. Also, I have another sword and several sword ideas that I really want to put past Adea, and also tell her that her going around being a, I don't know, a sword seller will not work as a disguise once we go to Londinium. So I want to also tell her that. So do you know where she is?
Did
As
you get that?
he's standing in front of you.
You're like saying that, and she's like right there. Dan's probably gone.
But Dan's going over here like, yes, but do you have a way to start a fire right now? I'm very curious.
Whoa, you're right there?
No fire.
Okay,
People, no.
Gausha,
Hot metal?
lead on.
No.
Lead
Metal.
on.
No. Rana, can I ride? I'm
Yes.
struggling.
Yeah,
I'm just
Ern
like,
actually Ern actually picks you up and puts you on Rada as well, just
Yeah, in my case,
one-handed.
I don't think I'm gonna be sitting astride like I normally am. I'm literally just gonna like flop belly over, just like hang my head away from Tooth. It's like my head hurts. And I only walked back into that for 2 minutes.
I've got this. You said you've got a new sword, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I see it for a moment?
Yeah, and he just pulls it out and hands it to her. Like, it's apparently not magical, but could you say anything about it? It doesn't look like the stories should tell.
Alright, you can look at that while we're walking.
Oh, we're going somewhere? Cool.
You can.
Onward on adventure.
And then her.
I mean, I suppose I can identify it before I heat it up.
No words, Edana. No.
You say you could appraise it, so it'd just be like a knowledge, whatever. Look,
Claire told me we can't do fires. No fires.
Being an adult always like this. It's no fun.
Yeah, it's exactly like this. It's not fun.
I just have this funny image. Sorry, this is me stepping out of character. I just have this really funny image of poor Rada, just like embarrassed mother with like her kids going 50 different directions, trying to make it so that they're not running into the street, they're not pulling each other's hair, they're not choking on something. And I'm like, this is the epitome of Mama Rada right now, being a harassed mother because she has drunk Tooth, drunk Aridin, sadly buzzed Bria because she was just trying to be helpful. And
I feel really bad for Brina right now.
you know, it's really funny is that's kind of how I've written like the main Knights of the Round Table too. Arthur's just like this long-suffering father, and like they're always doing something stupid, and he's just like, "What? Why did I bring you along again? What? I don't understand anymore." It's always like, "Oh yeah, your family."
Just
Well-
because your sword can blind an entire army doesn't mean you can kill an entire army.
Emmer's can.
Well, Medea is very disappointed, but will respect Brina's wishes not to cast heat metal on the sword, but she will cast identify on the sword.
Perfect. What I do again? Just gives you.
You choose one object you must touch throughout the casting of the spell. If it is a magic item or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use, and how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. If you instead touch a creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, they are currently affecting it.
So you go to cast the spell and you can feel it working properly. But then you feel this weird draining sensation. And your fingers get a little tingly. And it feels like the spell is just sucked out of existence.
Aridin, I think your sword is drunk.
Well, how can it be drunk? Just because it was in Tooth's bag doesn't mean it can drink. That doesn't make any sense. Also, it is iron. Is that what you're talking about?
Actually, maybe. I think the book said something about not using magic on iron.
Yes, the moment he says iron, this is something you'd be well aware of. Iron blocks magic or removes magic entirely, depending on how pure the iron is. It sucked the magic right out of you. Like, it sucked the spell out of you. So this is very, very pure iron. We're talking probably within like 90%.
Ooh.
Which probably gets Atea excited, honestly. She's like, ooh, it's a very nice sword. Very nice, strong sword.
It does have a nice, weight and balance to it.
Does it look like it's been reforged at all? Like there's supposedly a story behind it, but it was supposed to be broken, so I want to know if that's genuinely that sword or not.
Um, that I'm sure is a skill check of some sort.
Yeah.
Today I will look into it, but
To be an investigate. Stare that sword down.
Ern actually pulls out the bright hearth and kind of just hovers over. Does this help at all?
Medea is probably very concerned about the drunk person waving a sword around because I rolled a nat 1 on my investigation. It's a 6!
Your eyes had been adjusted to the dimming light, and he brings out this bright sword, and now you can't see a damn thing.
Aaron, you should put that away before you hurt someone.
Do you not is your lack of faith in the ways of the drunken master is rather concerning. But fine, I will put it away for you. And he does.
The last
He
drunken
does.
master I witnessed put a nail through their hand.
Can you give me a straight dex roll?
Ooh.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously at disadvantage because you are drunk.
Disadvantage. Okay. Straight dex roll. So that's a 10.
10. You totally miss your scabbard. You almost slice your pants, but you don't, and your sword just kind of flies to the ground.
Whoops.
Alright, to make sure that nothing like burns, Rada will like let go of Idea briefly just to pick up the sword before as soon as possible to grab Idea before she gets away.
Medea was going for the sword as well. She was pretty sure she was keeper of the swords now.
Rada, you look very scared. You do remember this fire isn't real fire, right?
Just put it away. No fires. No
Sure.
fires.
Trust me, if it was a real fire, I would have asked for it to have been drawn earlier.
At this point,
I'm
you
gonna
make
be
it.
very happy when we see her.
Alright, so
Her people like me.
where Gaucho leads the group is like basically to the edge of camp, like out of firelight, so Erden probably can't see a damn thing. But those with dark vision can see Tong like doing the slow version of Tai Chi. I think it's Tai Chi. It's just like
That makes sense.
slow
Yeah,
slow.
that would be Tai Chi.
Yeah.
I don't think I have dark vision either.
Well, it's a good thing I pulled out the sword, isn't it?
Alright. If Idea doesn't, then at this point Rada will give her and Erden dark vision for the next hour.
Oh.
Cool.
Erden, give me a Constitution save. This is
Okay.
gonna be a little overwhelming for your slightly.
Con save, so that's 6, so that's 21. Oh wait, I gotta do it at disadvantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's somehow better, so yeah, 21.
It's gonna take a beat. You're gonna feel a bit nauseous because suddenly your eyes focus, like there's this blurring, and then suddenly you can just see what you couldn't see before, and it's a little disorienting.
Everything's black and white.
Ow.
Everything's black and white.
How do you people live like this?
Well,
Just bring a torch.
Like, no, I don't want to be a dwarf.
Do you get to do this all the time? The midnight oil with tricks like this? This is great.
Alright, you lots, why are you over here? I thought the meeting was done.
This is the post meeting because the meeting before didn't do anything the meeting was meant to meet.
Airden and Tooth were not invited, by the way. And I tried to uninvite myself, but Rado didn't let me.
Rada, how could you?
You will.
Well, I wanted to get things done, and the two of you are drunk, so I figured the ladies might as well make the plans. Since we're the most stable-minded at the moment.
Women are generally more competent.
I did get the letter from Patricia. I appreciate your comment. Yeah, I apologize that I'm not at my best. I walked too close to Tooth trying to help.
I suppose Rod is the only one that would notice. Tong goes a little stiff when the letter is mentioned, but well, I might notice. Tooth might, but he has a -5 for perception. Not to mention being unconscious.
Here, details. Dea's passive is 15.
Can I roll? Can I roll to see if I notice that? Because I would be really.
What?
Can I roll to see if I would notice Tom going stiff? Perception.
This would be passive perception.
Okay. Even though I'm currently bugged because of getting too close to Tooth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my
Yeah, you're
passive
just-
only.
So right now you're just slightly buzzed, which just kind of
Gives me a headache.
it's more of a it's actually so the buzz is supposed to actually make you a little happier. It's almost like being high, but not to that extent. Is what it is. It's not a bad feeling. You don't have a hangover. You're just starting to feel the tingles of the effects of alcohol.
Actually, at that point, there's generally not a lot of mood change, and even if there is, you can actually get happy, sad, and angry. That's generally the three you get. So, depends on the person.
You're relaxing. You're not gonna be tense because that's kind of the point.
Yeah, and the hangover is more of a result of being dehydrated.
I said I had a not a hangover.
Yeah.
Brina doesn't drink. Like, this is not something that she does, so this is something relatively new.
Yeah, so she's feeling way more relaxed than she logically should be, but she can't make herself not feel that. Since she's never been a drinker, she's not going to know how to fight those effects yet.
I still think my head hurts, though.
Maybe from the actual.
I think it's from the actual fumes themselves. I think is what's made my head hurt because the smell is absolutely.
The smell could cause a headache.
Yeah.
I mean, no one in my house can wear perfume or use like scented anything because it gives my dad headaches.
And I'm actually very sensitive to strong smells myself, but so even with a passive of 11, I noticed Tong tense up.
Probably not. Tong is pretty subtle about these things.
Okay.
And Ern hasn't noticed at all. He's busy eating a baguette and chugging his water skin.
The funny thing is, it's not like you guys have been quiet walking across camp. I kept thinking that maybe one of the druids would notice you guys making all these comments and everything. I have not rolled above a 5. They have no idea you guys are out stumbling around like idiots and waving swords at each other.
I guess that also applies to the fact that there was a talking owl before.
Yeah, like nobody's doing anything. They're so focused on themselves. Like, okay.
Theory. My theory is Cadmus is entertaining all of them by what the heck tongues felt like. That's what's happening, in my opinion. Because he was just more like that. What the heck did you just do to me? It's like, wait, I can understand you now. Why can I understand you now?
Or it could be. Can somebody roll me a d20?
I can.
8.
Oh.
Prepare next time, second GM.
I had a roll already prepared for perception that I could have given her, which was a 19.
Yeah, something in the nearby bushes has caught a lot of people's attention.
Well, that's not
The only one who's probably aware that this is even going on is Rada. There's just more important things to do than worry about what everybody else is looking at.
got more
Like, yeah.
important things.
So, since we have to be here, and it's important, but I don't want to be here, can we make this quick? What do we need to do? What are the defenses like?
Well, first off, we need to decide who's going to go where.
Well, I guess it depends on how we can get in. How thick are the
Getting in is
walls?
easy. Staying in is hard.
Yeah, thinking about it, there is a spell that I know, and in fact I did bring it up during the meeting, that I can change my physical form at, well, that I am able to do that. I suppose I could teach it to the rest of you. Those of you with second level spell slots.
Does sound useful. But what if I put a hole in the wall? A very quiet one.
Idea, I think they want to do it silently as possible.
It
And I
would
think
be
putting a hole in
silent.
the wall won't
I
do
just
that.
reshaped the wall.
Also, just a quick thing, because I realized I've been using the wrong name for the queen.
You did. It's not
Yeah.
Rowena?
No, it's Severa. So I'll put it in roleplay. It's Queen Severa. Sorry.
Idea, the adults are speaking. Let them talk for a bit, okay?
If this meeting was only for the adults, I could have gone.
Well, we need to know everyone's strengths and skills, and quite frankly, I don't know everyone's strengths and skills enough. And well, I try to make plans. I am not as smart as Tong. So,
A hole in the wall would be a way to get in, but I don't know if it would be the best way to get in.
Yeah.
Because that might look odd to the guards on the inside.
But save it for getting out, I suppose.
Yes,
Save
if you
it for
need a
getting
quick escape. Yes.
well, look,
How quick
the thing
can
is,
you
we
reach
don't need everyone inside the palisade.
5 seconds, maybe 6.
We need people on the outside getting information from the common folk just as much as we need people amongst the nobility.
I think I'd probably do well talking to the people outside. Probably because, but I don't know if I'd be the best to go in because they have seen me before.
Yeah,
I'd say I didn't go on the goddess chase. I didn't go fight the goddess Erden did, so Constance got a good look at me probably because I was still in the courtroom.
Don't worry, Brandon. I think you would do great talking to the common people. I doubt you have any experience with talking with royalty. They have all these rules. Like Uther taught me a few of them. There's a lot more. It's ridiculous.
On a note of who can go inside without being noticed. Go inside without being noticed. Other than me.
As much as it pains me to say, I'm probably one of the better people for that, since I've lived among nobility before I learned to hate them. However, my charisma is not the best, so I would feel much more comfortable with someone coming with.
Pick me.
No.
Oh.
Oh, but I don't know if I'd be a liability because they know me. But I guess I could change my glamour up. I think maybe I could try that.
What's the highest?
I am a better talker than one would like to think sometimes. I'm good at it. I'm pretty good at it. Okay, better than I'd like to be sometimes.
What is the highest level of spells all of you can cast?
Ew.
Stone shape, fabricate, wall of fire.
No fires.
Second grade, guys.
Right, and I think I finally have slid off of Rhoda's back and I'm actually standing, but I've also moved as far away from Tooth and Airden as possible. No offense to Airden, just can't be my Tooth right now.
To be fair, at this point, you've probably had enough fresh air and been far enough away that things are starting to clear up for you. It's not like you consumed anything; you just kind of inhaled it for a moment.
Good. Still blinking a little bit. My head still hurts, but what was that?
Enough to make you a little gay, but and that's gay as in the old way that was used.
I thought you had said gag for a minute, and so I was very confused, but that makes much more sense. But I can do, but I don't.
What was that?
I mean, it's kind of what I can do. Anything that I do has to have a vocal component.
I can do 5th level spells at the cease point.
Cool.
Alright, so Tooth, are you conscious or are you sleeping happily?
I think he's unconscious.
Ern kind of like shakes him a little and is like, "Is he awake?" Yep, he's out cold. I'd wait until either really early in the morning or really late in the afternoon. Definitely one of the two.
Then I can teach all of you this spell. Keep in mind it lasts an hour, and it's concentration.
What spell is that?
It's called Alter Self. Now, I don't believe I've ever heard of a centaur using it, and in what was written about it, I am curious to see how it works.
Wait, teacher, what's the difference between this and clamor?
Wait for tomorrow and I'll show you.
Okay.
If it requires concentration, would that put us at a disadvantage though, because we're trying to gather information? That's the only thing that I thought of, but
I mean, typically speaking, he just kind of becomes background noise. You have to think about it, but it's not really consuming.
true, but for those who had never used the spell before,
If you have other concentration spells, it'll be just like that.
do I have other concentration? That's the question.
Dan has lots of them. I wish she could concentrate on more things.
Generally, if a spell lasts longer than 6 seconds, it's generally concentration.
Okay. I was gonna say, I have at least one concentration spell, so I do. Okay, no, I have concentration spells, so okay. I am.
And so yeah, yours are primarily going to be that because you're using words to
Mm-hmm.
control.
Is hers less altering herself and more altering everybody's perceptions of her? Aren't you? No, I am not the person you are looking for. I'm in fact this. And I just take it.
Oh my god. So me,
Eh,
the previous alter self will just be a Jedi.
but with this
I'm
now,
not
you
the
can
person
appear
you
to
were
be
looking for 3 years. I am a tall person who is from here.
I'm a tall person. I'm a tall person.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know why I thought that. It didn't make any sense.
Well, we can get into the specifics of what also self does tomorrow when I demonstrate it. But it should definitely be a helpful spell for at least the girls. I don't think you, yeah, I should point at Erden, will be able to make much use of this. Well, I mean, I suppose you could actually make use of the other parts, but then you would have less might. I'll have to make a mental note of that.
Less might. But my smite spell is a first level spell.
But you'll get what I am referring to tomorrow.
Okay. Why is alter self basically just alter like hair length or something?
You'll just have to wait for tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Tog, what are you planning?
Rada, does this count as a plan?
Technically no. It's an option, but not necessarily a plan.
What she said.
Alright, so Tong, what others have thought is that Odin would perform the ancient art of busking.
Yeah. People find me very undeniably attention getting, so I thought it would either be easy to do that or actually like going to talk to the nobility and talking to them about everything because I know a lot of the words.
You might know a lot of the words, but you also will be very recognizable. And if Constance happens to spot you, wording.
Isn't that what um glamour and I guess alter self is for?
Possibly.
I don't think it's a good idea to send Erden in there, not with the white lady having a
She's not
target on.
there. I asked. It's fine.
From what I remember, you had an inconclusive answer.
If it's not conclusive, which means it probably isn't.
Which means she just might not be there now, and she might be there when we're actually there.
Dun dun dun.
You guys all seem worried about this.
What I'm worried about, Erden, is that we're trying to save the queen, and you going in when there's a goddess with a target on your back, who, yes, inconclusively is been said not to be there, but could potentially be there when she could probably see through said glimmer or spell. I don't know the power of the spell, Tom, so I don't know. But I don't necessarily think that that's the safest options that we have.
Well, let's put it like this then. None of us should go because she was in the same bar as the rest of us. And she definitely probably noticed who I was talking to there. So technically, almost everyone in this group couldn't go. And besides, I could be a simple distraction for her, which would leave the king in dire straits that he's going to be unprotected, and she can't really do that. And she also only interfered when I specifically went after him. So as long as we both agree not to go outside of our own purview, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, do I have to roll persuasion for that or something?
I'm sorry. Repeat that again. Like, I
Ern's,
I process
Ern's
that.
basically putting forward the idea that they're both playing their parts, and to avoid an incident where either of them would be revealed, neither of them will reveal it unless they're in a position that both of them can. Since it would be disadvantageous to allow either side to recognize, oh, it's all a performance. We're all on a stage here. We can't break the fourth wall. Otherwise, everything will go very wrong very quickly.
Gotcha. And you're trying to persuade others to believe what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha. Yes.
Because Ern believes us 210%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not very good.
Do we have an opposed roll we have to make then? Or a passive something?
It's a 12.
The 12.
You could also use your passive insight, which is just 10 plus your insight bonus.
Yeah.
My 18 passive insight?
Yes. You can.
There it is. I have no clue what tavern incident you're talking about.
Oh yeah, you weren't there. That was just before you. Yeah, it was on fire and it burnt down.
Can we avoid fire, please?
Sports.
Sounds rather unfortunate. Somebody should not have been playing with matches.
Actually, it was the goddess of fire, so I don't think there was a lot of matches involved.
Well, somebody shouldn't have been playing with her then.
Rada, gives
Sorry,
a side-eye
sorry.
squint at Erden.
Just keeping back that they were like she was flirting with Erden and Rada.
She was flirting with everybody there.
It's rather funny.
I mean, they wasn't even there to know that.
I know, and so it's like somebody shouldn't have been playing with her. It's like, well, was flirting with them.
Yeah, she was flirting with everybody.
She was flirting with me, and I'm okay with that.
I can't remember if there was somebody else who was flirting with Andrew.
There was somebody else flirting with Amror, and he was rather dense about said flirtation. And I can't remember if I was the one that helped him out of that, or if it was Rada.
It was Rada.
Come on. My son. I knocked out.
Okay, well,
If you guys say no, it's fine. I just want to help.
Wouldn't it be easier to help if you weren't drunk? Just saying.
What do you? I've been thinking about this all day because I've had nothing better to do because moving hurt. And now I'm drunk. I've thought about it again, and I still think it's a great idea.
You're not using the Middle Eastern law of having to argue a concept twice, once sober and once drunk, and trying to get us to buy it, are you?
Arden absolutely independently came up with that.
Okay, you know what? Let's have this discussion again, or hear this argument again tomorrow morning when you're having your hangover.
But then I won't be able to talk because it'll hurt.
Perfect, then you'll
I
shut
think
up.
that's the point.
I'm starting to feel like you don't like me.
Let's just say I don't have a high tolerance of people that are intoxicated. Which does include myself at one time.
What was that?
Just one time.
I mean,
What was the last thing Tom said? I didn't catch it.
that does include myself that one time.
I'm pretty sure that, like, as I've moved to try and be as far away from Tooth and Airden as possible because of the fumes, I'm probably closer to Tong. And I'm just gonna, like, look up at her. It's like, please don't think worse of me. I wasn't trying to be buzzed. I don't drink. And I don't necessarily like that feeling. It was weird.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't drink either. At least I haven't intentionally drunken alcohol in, from my perspective, 100 years. Because I may have accidentally set off this entire thing. May have.
Huh?
Okay, this was far, far to the east of here, beyond the knowledge of most of you. You know, where Henry's from, like his people are from. Got drunk one night and mentioned how the far west was very prosperous and not used to horse people, horse nomads, or not used to fighting on horseback. And yeah, the guy I was talking with said, like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a grand idea."
So
Not
wait,
sure if I quite follow that, but okay.
That's like up there with the doctor drowning Atlantis 3 different ways.
So Tom got drunk and talked to Attila the Hun.
Maybe not Attila,
Attila?
but a Hun.
A Hun.
You better run.
I'm glad to know I'm not the only one who takes terrible decisions.
Well, it was from that evening I decided to swear off of mind-altering substances. Things could go terribly.
Well, this is all fine and dandy, but we're still having this meeting,
Yes.
which means we don't have a plan.
Okay, I still think you should be a merchant of some kind, probably a traveling kind. Since, I don't think you're quite mature enough to interact with nobility.
Yep. Sorry, Day.
I think she would just do a good job because she enjoys talking to people. traveling tradeswoman would also be very good because she does not look like she's from here, as do most all the rest of us. But she could but the altar self would probably help her be able to blend in a little bit more. But she could still look a little bit more foreign because traveling trader. I mean, maybe Cadmus could help you figure out somebody from another part of this country or this land that you could try and look like.
Dea kind of shrugs. So she doesn't think too much about changing her appearance to look foreign, but not herself foreign. It's like, what's the point?
Oh, that could work out great because we both know Faye, and I could translate, and I could be the person actually selling stuff.
Alternatively, and she'll switch to Latin. I'm pretty sure you can speak this language, correct? Or am I incorrect in thinking that?
I know Latin plenty well enough.
And she'll switch back to Faye. Well, there we have it. The wealthy people. She can speak with the wealthy people.
Comprehend languages up. So could I? They were speaking another language, but just still understand it, or does it just sound the same?
And we also all have the stones still.
True.
That is true. You all, speaking amongst yourselves, you can understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
But
You've got a double comprehend, which is
you
going.
won't necessarily be able to understand Tong.
But I still have comprehend languages running from the meeting.
So, I would say that if there was like any kind of delay, like between the speaking and the translation, then you would know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think otherwise you wouldn't.
Okay.
Well, unless it sounds very strange because it translates things literally.
Yeah. Well.
How figurative of a language was Latin?
Well, not only that, but also the fact that you saying you can speak this language just from context, I'd probably understand it. I was just curious to know if it's still like if it sounded different, like almost like it had an accent in the translation or something like that. That's more what it was a curiosity question. My apologies.
Tong would have an accent. I mean, she would sound Italian when. Also, to the Latin speakers, Tong speaks with an archaic vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
She speaks classical Latin. So she can still understand people and have basic communications, but it's just like speaking with someone that's speaking Old English. No, not Old English, early modern.
Gotcha.
At least that's how I choose to think of it.
Can you not dig your claw into my thigh?
Okay, so we have Idea as a traveling saleswoman for rich people that she speak Latin with, or whatever that language was.
Godpon is a bard, a minstrel.
He is very good at that, even though he's not actually a bun.
Godpon.
Oh, Erden is?
Yes.
Erden is Godpon.
I mean, that would be like the first time that any of you have heard Tong refer to Erden as Godpon.
God Fawn or God Pawn?
Pawn.
Pawn.
God
like the chess piece.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Ern you guys, if anyone looks, Ern isn't even acknowledging. He's sitting on the ground actually, and letting to lay on his side.
And I suppose
Dea doesn't really question who it is, but then realizes she doesn't know who it is, but she still doesn't ask.
I suppose you.
My eyebrow just raises. Sorry, what was that?
I suppose you, Rada, you could possibly act as my bodyguard since you have armor and a weapon. Alternatively, we could have Henry. forth. Yeah. Well, I don't know if he'll do things correctly. He seems very absent-minded. As for you, little one, well, little ones, but the other one is not capable at the moment to contribute. What are your strengths?
Tell stories and do my best to keep the rest of us all safe.
She talks a lot. She's very good at it.
Ask people their names, but that's just because names are important and very important to me.
Hold on while I check to see if tongues is concentration.
A moment. I can just check it. It's in my spell list. It is not concentration.
Well, it would be consuming 2 spell slots per hour, but we could have you, since you are a person that likes to talk, and nobles don't talk to people unless they need to. Could be a spokesperson for me to cover up for my lack of people skills.
Do that. You might have to coach me in whether it's appropriate for me to ask names, though.
You can. It's kind of an expectation, but it also kind of depends on how far you are up the noble ladder or not. But generally, it's announced.
Brina, you will hear in your mind. Well, this will be very simple, since I can just speak to you this way. The rest of you, you just see, like, Tong, like, looking at Brina, not saying anything.
And you see Brina kind of, like, swiveling her head. It's like swiveling her head, kind of looking up, and then, like, finally looking at Tong. It's like, how do you do that?
I'm psychic. I have a very powerful mind now.
Okay. Yeah, that would be helpful. I hope the concentration of the alter self doesn't get disrupted by that because I'm not used to it, but it would be helpful. I guess my thing is just making sure that I ask names in the proper noble way, I guess, is where I'm coming from. I'm glad that I can ask names.
Alright. Well, it sounds like we have at least the beginnings of a plan, though we can flesh out details on the way.
Okay, but if I'm a spokesperson, what about twos?
We'll have to save that to when he can contribute to a conversation.
I know he's good at putting rocks in people's shoes.
He's able to get just about anywhere whenever he wants. And also, his bag has, like, just about everything, so he could probably do whatever you want him to do.
If you can get him to comply.
How much are we gonna have to pay him? Leave. Because that ain't creepy at all.
If that is all, then Tong will begin ritually casting Lehman's Tiny Hut. And for once, will probably be the first person to go to sleep.
Hideo looks at Rada. Do we have a plan now?
Yes, you may go and work on your necklace now.
Dana asking, may I be excused now?
Adea starts to go and she looks and she's like, but do I still have to be an adult?
We would prefer you to be an adult, but just don't do anything reckless.
You can stop being adult until breakfast tomorrow.
I have to be awake for breakfast?
Yes.
That's simple enough.
Like, as Dana walks off, I'm just like, he's not gonna go to sleep tonight, is she?
Oh right, why I even came over here in the first place? Or I'm like picks up Tooth and then jogs after Hidea. See y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, deck save.
Yeah, deck save.
Oh, that's a 4. Okay. It's an 8 for total.
So you get up to go dash after her, and you get up, you take like 2 steps, trip over your own foot, and faceplant.
Ern immediately gets back up again like he doesn't even notice.
Definitely on Tooth.
He kind of does that like cartoon thing where like someone tries to keep walking with their face and turn, they just pick themselves back up again. I'm like, nope, this is fine.
Oh man. But before I do anything further, Megan,
Yeah.
did you want to see the Northern Lights?
Not particularly.
Okay. In that case,
Because I mean, like, I'd like to, but I don't want to drive somewhere and have it again.
well, I was thinking of going to the like just to the road where the refuge is, because I doubt anybody else thinks of going up to Brigham City. I would not go out to Tooele again. But it's totally up to you. I don't even know what time they're supposed to be visible at. Because everything I was finding was for Oklahoma, not even for here. Which, I mean, if they're seeing it in Oklahoma, it means we're definitely supposed to be seeing it here. But, like, they weren't giving me anything.
Yeah, because at this point in time, it's like I'm tired. And I don't think I'm awake enough to be able to drive. Completely, coherent. And not suddenly freak out because you're in the road.
Okay. Because giving me. Oh, that's mail over.
I wasn't aware that they were really happening, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to see them when they were visible, apparently literally everywhere.
Yeah.
That the museum hadn't said anything.
Actually, on the weekend, I went back to Washington. We arrived at about midnight, and we all kind of actually like took about 30 minutes just to look around at the sky to see the northern lights.
That's awesome.
Actually, I
Yeah.
think I have a few pictures.
It's interesting because
On Sunday, somebody was like, "Did you get the Northern Lights?" I was like,
it's interesting because we're all talking about it being able to be seen in Oklahoma, but NOAA's website is saying nothing south of Canada.
I'm gonna say I think Oklahoma is from May.
No, because it did say June 7th, or June 6th, I mean. That the sunspot has come back around and is facing us again. Or whatever.
I see it in the Oklahoman. But
like I said, NOAA, our weather people
Mhm.
are just saying that it's gonna be below like the middle of Canada.
Yeah.
And this is like the map I'm getting right now for today. So it's interesting. I wonder if somebody got a little overexcited.
Hmm.
Oh, that's okay.
yeah, I was gonna say I felt that we missed it here too. I've only seen the Northern Lights once in Montana.
I've never seen them.
Same.
All right. Next day. Tooth. Arden, I need Constitution saves to see if you've got a hangover.
Constitution saves. Don't mind if I
Yeah,
do.
I got a
What we don't
hangover.
know is the Tooth DC is like 22.
What did you roll, man?
I rolled a 4.
Oh, yeah. It's got a bad hangover.
I've got a total of 17.
You've definitely got a little bit of an ache behind the eyes, but it's nowhere near Tooth, who's definitely got the throbbing temples, a little bit nauseous.
Debilitated.
Yeah, it's like the migraine hangover.
Yeah.
What would have happened if she rolled a 1?
All right, so
Physically ill, yeah.
ironically, Tong is one of the first people up. She's trying to be trying to be the first person up. But when she wakes up, she's going to cast Alter Self on herself. Well, she can't do it on anyone else. But when people wake up, you won't find Tong anywhere, right where she was. You'll instead see a blue version of Vizira, like a person that's like Vizira, but they have blue scales and they have a more masculine appearance. It's about time you've all woken up. Shall we get breakfast?
Yeah, okay. Give me a moment. So, Dea, what do you think about now that you've slept on it, what do you think about reforging the Bright Hearth to do more magical stuff?
Adea, who is, not going to be late for breakfast today because she decided to meet somewhere in the middle on being an adult and getting to do what she wants. So she went to bed, late, but early enough to get to breakfast on time, is actually awake. I'd love to. I'm still trying to learn exactly how, but I would love to as soon as I figure it out.
You
Which
haven't
only
memorized
one
that
who
book
notices
back to
the
front?
new blue dragonborn?
No, I've been with you this entire time.
And what are our names?
What are your names?
Yes.
Brina, Henry, Idea, Erden, Tooth, Rada. Tiberius, and don't think Hosk has ever rejoined us after the battle.
Nope.
Adea just kind of looks at the Dragonborn and says, "I think it's too early for this," and walks up and casts Identify.
Actually, Erden squints for a few seconds and is just like, yeah, he's been here this whole time.
You're gonna just face over what Aaron just said. Okay.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. Does Ern like starts taking into breakfast? Just like,
Uh-huh.
So
Yes, he
Adea,
does.
since identify is a spell that requires you to touch the thing, you do feel scales. Like the person is physically there and does have scales.
Yeah, the dad comes over and she's just like, I'm gonna sort this out, basically. So you
Hey,
probably should ask a little more, but she's like, this isn't gonna hurt. When she
hey,
begins to
hey! I'm a wizard. Where? You're just gonna like cast a spell on me without my permission?
yeah,
Uh,
Dea, ask for
you're in our tent
consent.
without permission, as far as I'm aware.
as you guys are like having this
I've come up
conversation,
with worse things to do.
Morse walks up. He's just kind of like eating like a biscuit or something, watching this. He just goes, "Why are you inappropriately touching Tong?"
Wait,
Wait,
who was that?
Emrys. He's just
I would also like to point out that Tooth in this time has what appears to be something covering his eyes, and you can't see his eyes, and a giant container that has liquid in it that says life water.
alright, so
You have a sleep mask on too?
And Adea's like, I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm finding out who this stranger in our tent is. I mean, I could just identify them, or I could come up with much worse things to do with them. I do make weapons for a living, after all.
Like,
Look
and
at
Ern's just
Emrys.
looking at Emrys like, shh.
yeah, yeah, Tong
Or,
is
like,
just Tong
much
is
more
just going
sense.
to look at him and psychically tell him like, "Don't ruin this for me."
Like Ern's giving him the exact same look of, please don't ruin it for me either.
he's just
in the dragonborn is like this. The dragonborn is like
just walks off like I'm not dealing with this.
that makes sense, but why do you look like that? Wait, is that the ultras? Is that what that is?
I just think it's funny because Emrys definitely totally might have true sight. It's just like
Well, because someone's so spoils for it, yes, this is what Alter Self does. One of the things.
It's always Emrys. He always has to see through everything.
Walk up to Tong and like, may I touch the scales? Like, I want to see if they feel real or if it's gonna be like a glamour hologram.
Oh, she'll do you one better. She'll like pick you up and like put you up on her shoulder as like a piggyback.
You're taller. How
The spell
Magic
physically alters
arena.
my appearance.
Adea still insists on casting Identify anyways. She feels very mistrustful about the strange male dragonborn that has shown up in their tent uninvited. Even if everybody else is pretty sure it's she doesn't want to take any chances with random strangers in her tent.
Tooth is just off in a corner, drinking whatever he's drinking. It tastes good. Nice and refreshing.
So I know
for you two?
Identify works on objects, but does it work on creatures?
Yes.
Identify?
Yes.
Yeah. If you instead touch a creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it.
Alright, so you learn that this is Tong being affected by the Alter Self spell.
Dad kind of looks at her with kind of some squinty eyes and goes, "Nothing to you too, Tom," and decides to go get breakfast.
But, and she will, like, see this, gangrene off her shoulders. This is not... One of the perks of this spell is that she'll change her appearance to a human version of Tong. Uh, uh, and well, go ahead. Feel if you see if you can feel if my ears are just invisible or if they're actually gone.
Like Rita's gonna like very gently like kind of like poke touch her ears. It's like they just feel like normal. Like
Because
there's no there's
I am
no
physically different.
it's not just the
That is
glamour.
cool.
The glamour you can just kind of things pass through. This is going to be an interesting spell to learn.
Also, and she'll change again, ending the change appearance thing, and will like her. She'll gain like her normal appearance, but her hands will like the nails on her hands will lengthen and her teeth will sharpen. Like can also gain natural weaponry. Alternatively, I could also gain the ability to breathe and swim faster. Well, breathe underwater and swim faster.
Oh my gosh, we all need to learn that. We all need to learn that spell right now until we come across another damn boat.
If you heard it for the first time, it's like, okay, actually, you kind of have a point there. We do not have good luck with boats, and that would be a very helpful skill to know. If nothing that you save us from drowning and save me from having to be pulled out of Tooth's bag again.
Yeah, we all want to avoid that. So yes, we definitely would love to learn that spell, please. Now, thank you.
Now, here's the interesting bit about Alter Self. I have no idea how this is going to affect Rada. I mean,
Because of the the extra 2 legs.
yes. Well, two of the effects, I know what's going to happen. We'll just do it as is. But when reading about the change appearance, the description of the spell is that you can transform your appearance and you decide what you look like, including your height, weight, facial features, sound of your voice, hair length, coloration, distinct characteristics. You can make yourself appear as a member of any race, although none of your actual traits change. Like you don't actually suddenly become stronger or smarter. Well, you also can't. You also can't appear as a creature of a different size, and your basic shape stays the same. So if you're bipedal, say, for example, you can't use this spell to become quadrupedal.
But then how were you able to be taller? Because I swear that I was, well, I've never been on your shoulders, so maybe I just wasn't aware of the height.
Because
Well, height's easy.
I can't say become as large as Rada takes up space. I can make myself taller, but I can't.
Shorter. Oh,
yeah, I can't make myself as small as you.
okay. So minor alterations to height, but not major alterations to height.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not
Figure out how it would feel to be as tall as Henry, though.
Is Brina considered a small creature? Because that also means she can't bring herself up to medium size.
She could be a dwarf.
Or child.
If I'm supposed to be a spokesperson, I definitely wouldn't. That would be weird for me to be a child. Actually, wait, no, like a page or something like that, like kind of like announcing. That actually works. Never mind, I was wrong.
Be on the other side, but meh, everyone can work with that. It's not too unbelievable. Yeah.
Now, this would also make Rada the fastest swimmer out of all of us, but that change appearance, I am curious to see how that would work.
Well, she's also the fastest flyer, but I get that's not what you're trying to say. Okay.
Well, I mean, she already is the fastest swimmer, but this spell makes it so you can swim as fast as you walk.
Hey,
Could we turn her into like a small dragon?
It
look how fast she can swim. She could just be a dragon boat.
You realize these
I
wings
don't think
aren't.
that would work.
You realize these wings aren't actually a part of me. They're just a display of my magical abilities.
I shouldn't be asking questions. Adea's not even in the room, but I am actually curious. So it's like, they have 4 legs. She has 4 legs. They're intelligent and can speak. Adea and Rana's intelligent and can speak. And a small dragon might be a similar size to her.
Not gonna lie, this is out of character, but not gonna lie, I now kind of want to see Rada change into a small dragon.
But maybe the wings are too much.
How would that? Ern's kind of just sitting there, like desperately trying to figure this out, and he can like see the cogs whirring in his head.
And Tom will change back into the Dragonborn and will be examining the mobility of her wrist as if she's not used to it being like that.
You doing all right?
Yeah, it's just feels good to have normal mobility in my hand again.
Wait.
I've
If
never
you're
noticed you
in,
not have normal mobility in your hand.
Well, let's just say that due to a prior injury, I have less movement in this hand, and am in a constant state of, well, you know that feeling when you've sat or laid down on your arm or leg in a bad way, and then it feels all tingly?
mm-hmm.
Yes.
I do it all the time.
It's that, but constant.
That does not sound pleasant at all.
No, especially since it's my dominant hand.
Oh.
Yeah, and when it starts building up on your leg, and then it just get. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Alright. After breakfast, I suppose we can get started on this.
Yeah.
Since you all seem, well, at least that one seems particularly eager.
I think if it can do this, I think it'll be very, very helpful for our infiltration mission.
Because I can
I'm
just
actually
find my
curious about the
hat.
rules of learning spells here, but
I know we've
Oh
gone
yeah.
over it at some point, but I can't remember.
Tong, you want to ask Tooth what he could do? Well, he's awake now. Sorry, Tooth.
hungover too.
I was gonna say he might be awake,
Or
but is he coherent?
I mean, he's a leprechaun.
Tong will go over to Tooth and be like, Alright, how awake are you?
Well, I'm still drinking the water. But you
Uh,
can't tell if I'm making eye contact with you or not.
You have a sleeping mask over your eyes, don't you?
No, I have a pair of really dark sunglasses.
Oh.
Are you coherent?
Enough.
What are your
Goes
strengths?
back to drinking water.
What are your particular skills?
hangovers.
Sneaking.
The very good.
Well, I kind of gathered that being a rogue. Also being a bit of a trickster, which, I think, let's see if one day I actually get, Western style boots, that way you can put some rocks in it. That is, not one I've ever experienced.
Pretty sure Tooth could find a way to put rocks in your sandals or whatever you're actually wearing.
More or less, I think Tom wouldn't be wearing any shoes at all.
Most of the time, either sandals or barefoot.
Find a piece of sand and put it right between the toes.
Ugh.
Oh. No.
That's somehow worse than the rocks. Ugh.
Especially when
You're
Tooth
not gonna
figures
know.
out what thistles are, or those are going into people's shoes.
Well, let me ask you this.
Hmm?
Oh, great one of trickery. How are you with espionage?
I'm fucking fantastic at it. Why do you ask?
Well, considering the mission that we're all going on, we need to be getting information. And quite frankly, I'd like to get this information done and over with sooner rather than later.
Cool. What kind of information are you looking for?
Oh, information as to how and when these Saxons will be trying to kill the queen, if they're planning on doing it soon or if they're planning on doing it later.
Too early for witch hunt.
Okay. Tooth sticks his hand in his bag. And he pulls out some letters. I don't know what these say. I don't know this language, but here you go.
Wait, does it
Tong will take the letters. It's a wonderful thought, but we are going to be going to Londinium for this.
Espionage letters.
So two things. This is out of character, but Megan, you're kind of hard to hear. You're really quiet. But
Oh,
also,
sorry.
are those the letters that Tooth picked up in the Saxon camp?
I don't.
They're letters of some kind.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all for infiltration.
Yes, we'll have to. I'll think of something for you to do. See what mischief you or the both of us can come up with.
I'm really good at hiding in people's beds too.
Do you have any capabilities of casting spells?
Just to be clear, as at how delighted Tom sounds talking to Tooth about mischief, Rena looks alarmed.
I don't know, she thoroughly looks like she's enjoying this little conversation with Tooth.
Ern ends up plopping himself next to Brina and just kind of pats her shoulder while going back to his food. Just like, yeah, don't worry, I'm here for you.
I am not particularly good at the magic. That's why I carry things that are magic on me.
Well, as a rogue, you will have plenty of opportunities to be sneaking around. And if need be, I could cast invisibility on you.
Didn't somebody have a helmet of invisibility?
What?
No, like in all seriousness, didn't somebody have a helmet of invisibility?
Yeah.
Erden does. Yeah, and actually, if you say that, ask that in character, Ern responds kind of halfway through a bite of, "Yeah, I have one."
That's right, it was you. You had one. You wore the helmet. I was in the bag.
Amber wore the
Somebody
helmet.
else snuck into a tent.
Amber wore the helmet, and you were in the bag.
Oh.
And George was George.
Yeah, I am used it because I don't have Pass Without Trace, but it did work.
I might still be Buzz.
Alright, Tom will stand up from kneeling in front of Tooth, and you're like, "Hi, I'm going to thoroughly and well, I'm going to be watching your career with great interest."
Quick side note: is Fong still the Blue Dragonborn?
Yep, she switched back.
Because you had changed your voice up a little bit when you did that. I wasn't sure if you wanted if that was the same voice or if you're sounding more like.
It was a reference.
I'm sure it was a reference.
You can't do the reference without also changing your voice. Unfortunately, it's just one of those.
I'm trying to make my voice deeper for the fact that she is a tall, draconic being at the moment.
Yeah. It's just you hadn't consistently kept that, and so I wanted to make sure that it was supposed to be there. That's all. Because I would assume that, well, maybe not, with how hungover Tooth is, maybe he doesn't notice the difference in Tong's voice.
Well, also, I'm just in the Tong mindset, so my voice is automatically going to her voice.
And that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. My apologies if it sounds like criticism. That is not my intention. I'm just wanting clarity.
That's all right.
And with that, Tong will go to having breakfast.
That's the Blue Dragonborn. Okay.
So you weren't the only one that was mildly weirded out by the constant changing, were you? Ern's asking this of Brina.
It was certainly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad Embers pointed out that it was Tong. I mean, it made the most sense.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was necessarily freaking me out. It was more just like, that's what the spell can do. Like, I'm used to our glamours, but the glamours are fuzzy. And this is solid. But I'm also just awake, so maybe it will feel less weird if I go get food.
Yeah, probably. Food is generally pretty good. Though, I imagine if it feels different when you touched her, I imagine it would feel weird if you, say, tried to be a dragonborn yourself, and you would probably be able to feel the scales, which would probably be very weird.
You would be a baby dragon.
Yeah, I would be a very small dragonborn.
Little baby dragon.
If there's pygmy dragons, then maybe.
Well, if there are pygmy elephants.
But that was on Atlantis. I haven't seen pygmy elephants anywhere else. Or moas. That'd be interesting. Turn into a moa? Doubt I could be that tall.
Alright, when
I'm gonna like, as I'm talking with Aaron, I'm just gonna like wander off towards breakfast.
Yeah, so Tong, when she gets breakfast, she'll like sit down and be like, still in the draconic appearance, be like, I must admit, Telius, that having no dreams last night was very strange.
Wait, can you repeat that, please? Dominic had come up with the idea that I could change myself into a brownie, and I'm like, that wouldn't be that much different.
I said,
I was a little bit distracted.
Yeah, I said, Telius, and having no dreams last night was very strange. Because, he told her to sleep with him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it did its job, didn't it?
It did, and, it still feels strange. I'm not used to having my mind be blank. It was oddly peaceful.
Okay. Still not entirely sure how I'm able to manage it, as I do not have a brain right now.
Oh, you don't even have a body.
I mean, I have a body. It's just, made out of animal skins, stretched across each other and sewn together with plants.
That is true. So probably shouldn't keep you from your pupil. Did you hear that, at least I'm going to be teaching those with the capability of spells casting this effect. I mean, you don't have eyes, but, she'll, like, put her, like, clawed hand on top of the drum.
I don't. Yet, I can see. Honestly, god magic makes no sense to me. I just kind of roll with the punches.
Why do I have a feeling that he does?
Yeah, I don't think you can hear me banging on the table.
Not really.
Anyway. And good luck. I've had at least one of them as my pupil, and
Yes, I am well aware of trying to teach him prestidigitation and minor illusion, and what a disaster that was.
sort of. Not really.
It was fine, to be honest, for a beginner. So he is still trying to cast, like, I cast cantrips.
Fair enough. All right. It is nearing 10 o'clock. I want to go to sleep.
Yep.
So, we're gonna end things there.
Mhm.
We'll pick up next week with so it sounded like
Reactions
we had our
to
plan. We're gonna start heading east now.
Yeah, I think the general idea would be that we don't have to roleplay this. It would be like we inform the kings like what
the
the
people.
plan is. We get like what supplies we need if we don't already have them, and then take off either that day or the day after.
May I make one request?
Uh-huh.
As we go off to breakfast and Tong is still in her blue dragonborn form, I want a reaction out of Arthur or Uther and Emerus and Aurelius and all those guys and Katniss. Like, I want a reaction to random blue dragonborn.
I want their reaction to Tooth carrying this giant water bottle that's probably about the same size as him.
That too. I don't think I realized how big the water bottle was.
Have you not seen how big how life water bottles are? Some of them are pretty tall.
Mhm.
I didn't even see the ends of my hands. Ready for this?
Crikey.
There's the bottle.
These are huge.
Big bottles. Yeah. It's basically a collective mouths hanging open, like what? And not sure what's going on. Uther does not really react. He kind of looks up, pauses, and he's just like, I'm not gonna ask, and just keeps eating. I've seen some weird shit. It's too early. Maybe slightly hungover.
And Tong is extremely happy with those reactions.
All the normal soldiers and people that you've passed on the way to breakfast have definitely got the jaws hanging open, lots of whispering, like, "The hell was that?" Lots of very confused people. Aurelius also doesn't react a whole lot. He kind of raises an eyebrow. He looks at Emrys, who's definitely not reacting because obviously he's like, yeah, I know what's going on. And he's just like, okay, he's not freaking out, so I guess it's cool.
And of course, at
Like,
the end of the hour, she changes back into her Fae self.
Mm-hmm. I like Aurelius just looking at Emerson like, you're not freaking out. You're not okay. I won't freak out then. It's like
This isn't an issue. I won't make it an issue.
it's like I'm just gonna go back to my food now.
I mean, generally speaking, Aurelius is a pretty chill guy, and he's just kind of like, hey, if it's not an immediate threat, whatever.
Unless Uther's doing something, then he kind of hits the ceiling.
Well, yeah, that's because Uther needs to be, responsible. He's got obligations to prep.
Uther responsible.
Oh, it's even better with Arthur because I definitely have a few scenes in mind where, because Kay's his seneschal, right? So he's supposed to keep him on task and one meeting to the next and keeping him informed of everything going on in the kingdom. But he spends half his time going, where the hell did Arthur go? And Arthur's out in the barn or something, or he's out with the people, and he's like, you're not supposed to be doing this. And he's like, I didn't want to be king. I didn't mean to pull a sword out of a rock, and now everybody thinks that I'm in charge. This is not what my end goal was. I was just gonna be your squire. This is way more than I bargained for. I really just want to pet the horse, okay? Gabe's just like, I need a bell. And I'm just gonna strap it to you permanently so you can't rip it off.
Magically bind it to your skin.
Hey, Emrys, Mr. Merlin, sir, can you just do this for me?
Or really attach a bell to him so I don't lose him.
It's ridiculous. What's even
You know,
better is when we start getting all the other knights, and he starts going to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have no idea." And he's like, "I know you're covering for him," and they're like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he's just like, "Oh, I'm strangle all of you." Throw the queen in the mix, and he's just like, "I'm done. I'm done with all of you."
this is the day that he snaps.
Why am I the only responsible one?
Why?
It's actually just him because when Arthur does get married, like he gives up on Arthur. He's like, I'm just gonna tell one of you everything, and eventually it'll get to him. At least I know where she is. She's just like, oh, am I the one running the kingdom now? Okay, sure, whatever. I was better prepared for this anyway.
Someone needs to be
And that's
responsible.
secretly why the rumors with her and Lancelot start, because they're covering for Arthur, and then everyone's going, "Ooh, what are those two up to?" And it's like, nothing. Literally nothing. They're literally covering for Arthur, and now everybody thinks that they're in love, and it's like that's not it at all.
They
I
just
tried.
spend hours in that one room, just practically every night. It's what could they possibly be doing in there? I mean, no, it's supposed to be a bedroom or something, right? It's actually a converted study with like piles of paper everywhere, and they're just sorting through it all.
They're just running the country.
Just running the
Well,
country.
Arthur, who knows where.
While Arthur's trying not to have a breakdown. Yeah. Good times.
Mhm.